All right, and we're back. Um, no, that email is really it's concerning. Give me 1 second, please. Mm, excellent. Good stuff. Yikes. That's expensive. Where's the other stuff? All right. Oh, so sorry about this. These are time-sensitive emails, and since technically I'm still doing working hours, I gotta. All right. Welcome to another episode of Work Along with CharFox. Actually, this will be the first episode. But yeah, during my slow days, like today, I usually just catch up with paperwork stuff and emails. Let me just send that. There it goes. And good stuff. Alrighty. Crisis over. So what were we doing? Did I poop? I pooped. And now we're going to talk about two videos: the world of Remnant, the cross-continental, the cross. I keep messing it up. Let me. I just had the name. Hold on. Let me look it up. What is it called? CCCCCTS. I got this. I got this. The cross-continental transmit system. There it is. Got it. The cross-continental transmit system is not that hard to remember. It's just that for some reason my brain wants to throw in communication in there, and I put extra C's. Cross-continental communication transmit system, but it's not that. It's the cross-continental transmit system. Cross-continental transmit system. Got it. There's no communication. It's a cross-continental transmit system. Why? Because it transmits everything: audio, video, data, images, and all sorts of things. Now, let's talk about that video really quick, the World of Remnant, because I was mentioning that it was kind of like playing with my emotions for some reason. I don't know why, but it made me feel like I felt it was a little bit powerful, and the way that Ospen said that it was not some sort of, but he found it poetic in a way, and I guess it resonated with me when I was understanding what the concept was. That this back in the day, it was really hard for people to communicate. And excuse me, oh excuse me. Have has that ever happened to any of you when you're like talking and all of a sudden like you're doing fine, but then when you start talking, it's like you're exercising your muscles and your vocal cords and your oxygen levels are being fluctuated or whatever, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, go ahead and yawn. It happens to me all the time when I'm in the morning. If I'm like, I can be sitting typing away or researching things, but like when I start talking, it's like, oh yeah, hey, you need more oxygen. Go ahead and yawn. But sorry, sidetrack. So back in the day, the kingdoms had to rely on foot messengers or land-based not transmit, land-based delivery. Now, Ospen mentions that no matter how, no matter what kind of method we would come up with, it always seems, excuse me, it always seems as if there was the perfect um what do you call something that's like the opposite, or the perfect, I don't know the term for that, the perfect thing that is perfect to counter the the perfect counter. Let's leave it at that. There would always be like the perfect counter that would be able to stop that method. So if you're on foot, you get you get ambushed by like all these grim and message not delivered. There was a scene. There was like some sort of items on the floor, and it looked to be like train cards. So train system, not a chance. Um, so it was hard. And then it mentions that they tried to like put out some satellites in orbit to help relay signals. But here was the interesting part, that dust seems to lose its effect as soon as it starts leaving the atmosphere. Now, what can I pick up from this at the moment? Not much, but it makes me feel as if everything is related to the planet. And for some reason, I feel like I had these ideas before that nature and the grim was a way to like equalize, and you have humans and their creations which are considered unnatural in the world of Grimm, in the world of Grimm, in the world of Remnant, in the world of Grimm. Where is that from? I don't know. In the world of Remnant, it feels like it doesn't belong there. And then Grimm come along, evolve, and try to undo the structures, as Osman was mentioning. There's like some smaller relay stations that were designed to increase coverage of the cell phone service in the kingdoms. This concept, this this information that we're getting, I think, is so great. It's so cool to be able to get a better understanding of the intricacies and details of the world, the world that we're seeing right now. Um, it's interesting. So Atlas came up with the idea, with the concept and the design, technology to be able to have these large towers to transmit anything. Excuse me. Goodness, to transmit anything. So like you can transmit yourself um, via images, audio, video, data, and all sorts of things. Now, it mentions that these towers also lay out the field that allows people to access through using personal items, like for example the scrolls, which are the equivalent of the cell phones in the Ruby verse, and it makes me wonder. Maybe the tower is like this portal where you have your operators in there and they can direct and they can make the connections and relay the information for you. So that would be like the primary source. There would be like the data centers. Like let's say, I wonder. I'm thinking about expanding the possibilities and the concepts. I wonder if like let's say, yeah, it totally makes sense. Let's say like that'd be weird though. Uh, I don't know. It'd be like yeah, but all right, let's go with it. So here's what I'm thinking. It'll be like back in the day when when telephone first came out by Mr. Bell. When he first made telephones, you would have these call centers where you would have operators, and like you pick up your receiver in your house. I don't got my phone here with me. Where is my little phone? The house phone, I mean, not the cell phone. But anyway, let's do the cell phone. So you pick up the receiver and you start like tapping, tack, 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 and all that tapping, you're sending signals through the copper line all the way to the call center, wherever it may be, and it starts flashing light on the switchboard. And then you have a woman that's sitting there and she sees the light flashing and she's like, oh, somebody's trying to like connect. Let me just plug in this line so I can hear what they're saying. And they say, operator, how can I help you? And then the person on the phone can now communicate to the operator and be like, oh, I please connect me to, I don't know, Weish Schnee. Let's use Ruby examples. Please connect me to Weish Schnee. Schnee. And then the operator says, okay, one moment, I'll connect you. And then she pulls out the plug, and then she grabs a piece of cable, and then she plugs in your end, and then she connects herself um to Weiss's phone. She connects herself. She sends signal to the phone, which makes the phone ring because instead of having a light, the phone has a bell. And it goes ring, 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 and then Rice is like, "Oh, somebody's calling. Hello." And then the operator's like, "Miss Snee, I have a gentleman that wants to connect with you. Would you take the call?" And she's like, "Oh, yes, please." And then bloop, and then they pass the cable to the other part of the switchboard and connect it to Weiss. And then you literally have a direct line of communication from your phone all the way straight through Weiss's phone. And then you can talk to each other. And the whole time that they're talking, you can see like induction lights lighting up to let you know that the call is connected. And once they hang up and they close the line, the lights turn off, and that tells the operator, "Okay, okay, let me just plug this cable out of there, and I'll just wait for somebody else." You know, and that's the job of an operator in the switchboard. So I'm guessing since the technology is fairly new, it's fairly fresh. That's why you have your call centers, data centers inside the um, the towers, so that you can make these connections and maybe transmit data and transmit information. But that makes me wonder, why doesn't the scrolls allow you to do the same thing? And the thoughts that I came up with were that maybe um, scrolls only work with like contact lists. There's no like number that you can dial on them, so you have to like save another person's scroll information onto your scroll, and that allows you for direct contact, because when you're scrolling through the information, you see the names of the people, and it's like a scroll is attuned to you, and only you. So let's say that you just met Pira, for example, and you're like, "Oh, hey, how who are you?" And I'm like, "Oh, hello, I'm Pira." And it's like, "Oh, cool. Okay." And then you have to leave. "See you later." And then you think to yourself, "Wow, I want to hang out with Pira. Let me call her." Oh wait, I don't know how. That's when you go to the call center and you go to the tower and you're like, "Oh, hey." And then the operator comes online, and then you say like, "Hey, I would like to speak with Miss Nikos, please." And the operator's like, "Oh, 1 second, I'll connect you." And then she contacts his. She looks in the mega scroll database, because everybody's personal scroll is registered in there. And then she looks up Pira and she connects to Pira and she's like, "Hey, there's a gentleman here that wants to talk with you." And then you get connected, and then at that point you can sync your scrolls together and be able to communicate directly without having to go to the call center. Um, I don't know how much information you can get through the scrolls, but there is some information you can get and transmit from them. Um, that does make sense. That's probably why the reason why Weiss had to go to the transmit system in Beacon to connect to Atlas. Oh, or maybe one tower can connect all the scrolls within that tower, and then if you want to connect to somebody else's scroll somewhere else, then you have to go to the tower to connect from tower to tower, and then go to the scrolls. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I can sit here and invest so much time in trying to figure out how it works and the engineering aspect of the design, but I don't have that much information, and I don't know. I think I'll just be going down a rabbit hole that has no reason, because we're just talking about how it works, and it it I love understanding how things work, and it makes me. I have a firm belief in which if you understand how something works, you know what it is. What do I mean by that? Um, it becomes a part of you. It becomes, I don't know, like for example, I was actually considering on doing my own generator thing, or actually not my own. I'm considering helping somebody um modify their generator, right? And so I just go straight to the parts list, and you have this, which is the generator the person has, and then you have this, which is the generator that I want to modify it to. And there's like, if you take a close look, you can see what parts are different, and I'll give you a hint right now. Let me hold this differently. This part is not present in this generator, and that's the electric starter. This is just a pull wire starter. So you study it up, you understand how it is, and you can actually say like, oh, I understand what it is, I get it, and you can actually go deeper into that. And that's why I like to make these connection with things. But going back to Ruby, I'm getting so sidetracked today. What's wrong? My focus is like everywhere. Um, Going back to Ruby, so the cross continental transmit system. It's a wonderful thing. It really is, because it allows information, communication between kingdoms. It allows things to just happen. It makes the world a smaller place, because you don't feel the distances, you don't feel the separation, when you can just, hey, I've missed you. Oh, nice to hear from you too. Actually, let me see you. Boop. Hey, how's it going? Yeah, it's me. Ooh. And I don't know why I did that. I stopped myself, but I remembered this. There was this sketch about a comedy sketch about Apple and Apple FaceTime or whatever it's called, and just just remember that. But anyway, um, it was the short skirt of the innkeeper's daughter. um, so all this information is able to be there, and then it tells us that if one of the towers goes offline, then all of them go offline. And basically, we lose the amount of progress that we've had so far. All right. So that's that. That was a very long talk about, because I kept getting sidetracked for the World of Remnant video. But anyway, let's talk about Chapter 7 now. Chapter 7. Hmm. The beginning of the end is the title of the episode, or the chapter. And it basically lives up to its name. It's the beginning of whatever end we have yet to see, but it's the beginning of how everything started. So one day, long time ago, Cinder was just walking along, doing her thing, and then she sees this girl, and the girl gets a ring from the jewelry store guy, and the jewelry store guy smiles at her, and then she's like, and then she walks away, and she stole a ring. And Cinder is like, I see the possibilities. I can use that. And she does. She recruits a young emerald. Now, young emerald apparently was living in a life of strife. Young emerald was constantly struggling and stealing and doing things in order for her to survive, because she was hungry. She was hungry all the time, apparently, and living a life of misery and just bad stuff. Makes you wonder, though, Why? I don't know. I don't know the government system that well or how it helps their citizens. Hmm, I don't know. But anyway, so young Emerald gets recruited by Cinder, and based on the dynamic that was going on there, um, it really felt that she had very. I'll talk about this in a little bit, but her feelings towards Cinder. We'll talk about this in a little bit. Um, I'll try to remember. I was gonna say remind me, but sorry, that can't happen. But I will talk about it later. Um, I will not forget. So she recruits Emerald because Emerald has this very, very interesting ability in which, well, later on we find out that she can do only one at a time. Two is a stretch. Three, ooh, imagine if she could. Well, we'll talk about these things in a little bit. I'm getting ahead of myself. Back to young Emerald. So young Emerald, and she's young because she doesn't have her jacket. Um, she can't afford it because she's poor and hungry. So, what am I talking about? So, young Emerald gets recruited by Cinder, and clearly you can tell the level of loyalty that starts developing with Cinder, towards Cinder, because she is giving or given things and treated in a way that she was not able to have before, and that makes her level of gratitude very overwhelming, and to the point where I feel as if she's very, very severely infatuated with Cinder. I'm sorry about the noise. Infatuated with Cinder because she's grown up in a life of strife. She's been constantly cast aside, maybe um, mistreated, or whatever the case may be, and now she has someone to look out for her, to provide for her, to care for her, to never let her go hungry again. And I'm sorry, I immediately thought about Lion King when Cinder said that line. But it's what it is, as in it provides the concept of stick with me and you won't need anything anymore. I'll provide everything you ever want, but I need you to work for me. I need you to provide quid pro quo, uh, I help you, you help me kind of thing. So I need your ability on call. And that is the dynamic that starts developing. Now, Emerald probably was never appreciative of this and becomes extremely infatuated towards Cinder. Now, she has the support, all right, which is Emerald, and now she needs the DPS, which is Mercury. So she looks for an assassin. Originally, apparently, the original plan was Mercury's father, which was, oh, what was his name? Something Black. Marcus? No. Was it Marcus? Marcus Black? It starts with an M. I don't know. Ah, I should have paid more attention to the name. Mercury's dad. Got it. So apparently Mercury's dad was a renowned assassin. He was top of the line because if Cinder is gathering recruits, she's going to go for the best of the best, right? So she goes and looks for this assassin and instead finds Mercury. Now, at this point, we see Mercury with bandages and blood, and apparently there was some sort of altercation between him and his father because there was a fight that Cinder and Emerald were watching from the tree line. And what led to the fight? I'm not exactly sure. But if I were to take a guess, I would say that that was the turning point in which probably, this is just me speculating right now, but maybe Mercury's dad snipped his legs and installed the the mechanical weapons. You know, all this time thinking back on this now, all this time when Mercury was discussing with Cinder about Pyrrha and their fight, where he was gauging her, he said once she touched my boot, she was able to move it, make slight adjustments. And that makes I always thought that his boot had like some sort of like kind of like Yang's gauntlets where they're like you know, I don't know how to describe what I'm doing, but a metal encasing that goes around the extremity, and it had its weapons somewhere in the heel or somewhere on the sides, but now it actually goes to stand that his entire lower leg is a weapon. And that actually, when I started realizing what was going on, and I said, "Oh, that makes sense." It wasn't not just because of that, but it was also because of the fact that there was a part in which he's fighting with Yang, and he's just like pow 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 pow, and then he creates this entire swarm of projectiles, and they're all just waiting around in hovering pattern until he unleashes them all on Yang. And the reason I say it actually no, I said it makes sense when I first discovered that his leg was coming out with that upgrade enhancement. I don't know how to say, but it makes me wonder when he was tuning it, um, and it was glowing. That's probably some sort of like mini dust reactor of sorts, where he can get his munitions from to fire his projectiles, and at the same time, I don't know if it's possible, but probably that's what allows the projectiles to hang around him until he calls them down somehow. It would be possible to carry out something like that, like launch them all, and the field on your leg would keep them around you, and then when you do a certain something, when you send the signal down, then just go ahead and all fall down. So that's the concept that I have in mind. Um, so yeah, mechanical legs reminds me of Star Fox, but she recruits Mercury, and at this point you can actually see Emerald becoming jealous because her infatuation and her wanting of Cinder and her feeling of I'm sorry, I'm thinking about Yandere now. um, uh, Cinder is like senpai for Emerald, and then Emerald is like, no, it's she's all mine. I don't want to share Cinder with anybody because she has given me this feeling of being alive, of being appreciated, of being wanted, and I want nobody else to be able to share that. I don't want her to share that with anybody else but me. I want it all for myself. And then you can hear it when she expresses, we were fine without him before. We don't need him." And then pow! And I immediately envisioned like one of those anime scenes where like, and then she says, "Do not mistake your place. Um, whatever it is that you think you there is going on between us, it's not. All right. This is a symbiotic relationship. I need you for your thing, and you need me for what I can give you. Simple as that. Never forget that." And in a way, that's why it all makes sense now that Emerald is constantly so easily annoyed with Mercury. Deep down inside, she feels that he stole part of Cinder away from her. And it's something to look out for. I'll give you this warning now. I believe that's something to look out for. Um yeah, they work together, but they don't really have this deep level of camaraderie and the word I'm looking for is this deep level of relationship as teammates as we see with the rest of the other teams of RWBY and Juniper and the other Huntsman teams. Because in the other teams, everybody looks out for each other and understands. With Mercury and Emerald, it's like we hang out and we work together because we need to be together. Otherwise, I would choose not to. In fact, I would probably find a way to get rid of you so that I can go back with being Cinder to being alone with Cinder without having you interfering or taking away the affection that she gives me. Mhm. So that's something to look out for. Um, what else? And then we go back to today, and it makes sense. I actually thought about not too long ago, a couple of days ago, as to why would that thing take place? Why was that event there? Why did it happen? And then there was the split cut scene where it shows the Grim kind of like all of a sudden they're like, I smell something good over there. And then they kind of like start turning towards the city. It didn't click in my mind, but I thought about it like two days ago, and then now it just reconfirms what I was thinking about, and it was all part of the plan. There is a reason why Mercury fought Yang. There is a reason why Mercury was defeated by Yang, and there's a reason, and especially now that we know what caused that thing to happen, there was a reason for all of it, and the reason was to create discontent and upset and I don't know about fear, but maybe anger and all sorts of other different things within a stadium full of people, and also through the oh, but all in. yeah, the screens, the images on the televisions, and it totally makes sense why Ublik and Peter, um, I forgot Ublik's first name. Hmm, forgot his first name. Dr. Ublik, excuse me, Dr. Professor Ublik. Why they immediately called for them to cut the cameras, cut the feed, because if the whole world is watching and all of a sudden everybody sees these images of another huntress just flat out taking a cheap shot, or just purposely hurting another competitor in a competition that is designed for exposition, teamwork, learning from each other, friendly rivalry, and at less snow cones, all of a sudden you see this action, this event that just falls out of the standard, the rule of what the purpose of the activity is, of the event is. It'll just create this like, oh my god, what the heck? Um, and the reason was to get all that grim activity going on, to bring them closer to the Coliseum where everybody is gathered. And I was telling you this because Dr. Ublik and Professor Port, they immediately, as soon as they see it, they're like, cut the feeds, cut the feeds. Like, stop this from getting out of here. We can't let this propagate to the world. And unfortunately, it did, at least for the Coliseum, and it starts bringing in a lot of grim. And then in this episode, there's a a news about a spike of grim coming up, and it's all part of the plan. Now, by the way, I already came back to what I was gonna remember about Emerald and Cinder, which was the infatuation. Um, I skipped the part where the maiden Amber Autumn. So let's go back really quick because I got ahead of myself. I went all the way to the fight with Mercury and Yang. So let me backtrack really quick to what happened to Amber Autumn, or Amber Autumn Amber, whatever her name is. Um, this is when we start understanding what it is that Emerald can do. Because at first we heard the conversation about, I'm guessing, the jeweler and her saying a beautiful ring for a beautiful lady. Oh, excuse me? And then, but now we actually see it in place. Emerald is able to get inside your mind, erase or block things that you're actually seeing. For example, she hid herself from Amber and instead projected the image of a small little crying girl. Because everybody wants to help a small defenseless little crying girl. And this brings so many things to my mind right now that I want to discuss what I believe was like bad calls, but we'll get to that in a little bit. So Amber Autumn, strolling around on her horse, finds the crying girl, and then she gets attacked. And we can see the amount of power that she is able to wield. And all of this without using dust. Does that make it Does that make it like her energy level or something would run out? Maybe. Um, but anyway, she puts up a great fight. She kind of like, I don't know why she had to get up close and personal in the end, but that was her downfall. She decided to, instead of keep the range attacks and keep her distance, play it safe, she wanted to get up there and, I guess, poke her with a staff. Stab her, poke her with the staff. And I don't know why. But that she did that, and that was her downfall. And then she became incapacitated. Apprehended, we see Cinder pull out this white glove with interesting symbology on it. And from this white glove, we see a grim beetle bug pop out. Now, just thinking about this, the implications that this is telling us is just a bug that looks like Grim that is designed to pull out oh man, we're just entering this really dark area right now because this is basically telling us right now that it is possible to develop some sort of like grim technology, whereas I don't know, man. After the little beetle thing got severed by Crow, it crawled back inside, and then the glove, the entire thing, assimilated with Cinder and became a part of her. What in the world? Oh man. What does this mean? Just the fact, man. You know what this is. This. Oh man, let me tell you something. This is like a small droplet, like bloop, like a small droplet of the kind of enemy that we, or not we, but that the good guys are facing right now. This, oh my gosh, this, think about it. All up until now, we have been constantly told you can't imprison the Grim, you can't kill them and research the Grim because they disappear, they dissipate. You can't do anything with anything for nothing with Grim. Grim are killing machines designed to just blit, 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 and that's it. You know? But yet, all of a sudden, hey, By the way, take this glove, and then when you point it at somebody's face, this little grim bug will come out and their life away, and it'll be assimilated with you, and it'll be a part of you. What happened to the bug? What happened to the glove? There is this other player out there that's controlling, or not controlling, but able to control and do things with the Grim that so far nobody else can do. This is like super unprecedented because we have never been given any indication that this is possible. And then, in the end, we hear Cinder talking about she's reporting to the higher authority. Now, all the way up until now, it gave the indication that, Cinder this, Cinder this, Cinder this. Oh my gosh! With Crow! Yes! Oh, it's all coming together now. Think about it. You have Cinder. When Crow talks about Cinder, he refers to her as a little infiltrator. You know? He's like, Cinder is just a pawn. Cinder is not the main player. Cinder is just a little infiltrator. She's responsible for the condition of autumn. Oh my gosh, it's all connecting now. It's everything is falling into place. And then he says, I've seen the things she's been making out there, and trust me, that's fear. And then we get the message from him way back a long time ago where he says, bzz, bzz, the queen has pawns. It's there now. It's finally there. The main player is someone with this ability, or this capacity to be able to control, not control, I keep saying control. Yeah, because she is controlling. She's like, hey, stay in that glove until it's time for you to come out, okay? Okay. Good. Here you go. Use this glove. You know, there's this person, and I'm putting some money into this. That's a female, a woman, because they refer to her as queen. Now, this particular person has pawns, and the pawn in question is Cinder. Now, Cinder is like, up here, whereas Mercury, by the way, she also recruited Adam in a very coercive kind of way. But that's not important right now. What's important is that we're getting hints of who the main player in the background is. And it's this person that has the ability to control Grim. Alright? And, if Cinder is a pawn, then why would you give your pawn unimaginable power? If you are concerned, this also tells us the gauge level of this particular queen, this entity, because she feels okay, she's cool, she's confident in the fact that if Cinder absorbs all the power of the maiden, all right, and decides to turn against her, the queen will be like, one maiden, I got the equivalent of like 10. You know, it gives us an idea of the immense power of this entity. It gives us an idea of the abilities of this entity, and it tells us who it is. No, not who it is, but it gives us an idea to try to start seeing the difference in level of who the main adversary is. And oh my gosh, that is nuts. She is able to control Grimm, use them for their abilities. The technology of dust, energy, aura, life essence manipulation, it's crazy. And then when Crow says, I've seen what she's making out there. And trust me, that is fear. What in the world can we only begin to think that this queen is making that causes Crow to consider it as fear? What? Oh man, this is indeed the beginning. Hmm. I'm sorry guys, I gotta leave it here. Um I got an appointment in a little bit. I gotta go meet up with some of my employees. Wow. This is something. This is something. I'll leave it here, guys. Ruby Tuesday. I still have some pockets scattered. I erased my schedule. I correction. I haven't updated the schedule. It's erased. I never put the new information in. um, I don't know. I can't. My head is trying to like wrap around this right now and try to put the pieces in the places that I go. But I don't want to say that this is god level adversary, but there's a lot of power going on in here. There's a lot of there's something. I won't stop them from claiming what is ours. Oh man, that means she's gonna come after Amber. That's probably why she's in the Beacon Academy too. Oh, so many things, so much information. I really gotta get going, but I want to keep talking about this. What time is it? It's 41. I gotta be there by 11. I got 19 minutes to get there. And it takes me, no, it takes me, dang it, it takes me like 20 minutes to get there, so I'm already late. No, I'm sorry. Oh, all of this, all of this is just a ruse. All the things that Cinder is doing is just, it's all probably just part of the plan to be able to get into the vault of Beacon and finish the job. But why goes through such large, convoluted, not convoluted, complex plan? God, I shouldn't have watched 2 episodes because I have short time now. And I can't take you in the car with me because I can't think and drive. Dang it! But I don't know. Maybe I'll. I really gotta go. I'm so sorry. Thank you so much for watching another another episode of RWBY with me. I greatly appreciate all your support. To all my Patreon supporters, I always thank you and I always will. What you do is incredible. It's not necessary and it's not a requirement, but when you do it, it helps me out so much and I truly appreciate it so much. Thank you. I really mean it. So thank you. To everybody else, comments. I love reading your comments. I love your support. I love all the good things that you do in the channel, and it shows me that you guys really enjoy what I do. So thank you for that. So that's it. I really gotta leave this here, and I will see you on the next video. Until then, take care, and bye-bye. ふわふわふわふわふわふわりくるくるくるくるくるくる回るのふわふわふよふよふわふわりうるるくるくるふわふわ飛び出したの